Nice. So any question regarding the discussion we had so far? Am I audible? Mahesh bhaiya, Dadidi bhaiya? Open the cap, yeah, please. Yes, you can keep it here. So we're talking about the Yoga Darshan. We discussed the core issues in the Yoga Darshan. Now we can look at the psychology in Yoga Darshan. So how the human psyche has been explained, consciousness. So consciousness, that is chitta, is a dynamic field of the mind that reflects both the external world and the inner self, Purush. So chitta has three components: manas, buddhi, and ahankar. Man, buddhi, and ahankar. The true self, Purush, is pure consciousness, eternal, unchanging, and distinct from chitta. Consciousness, as experienced, is often clouded by vrittis, mental modifications, which distort the reality. Now we can try to relate this to this particular thing. So the term that is being used here is chitta. Now if you look at it, man is here at the level of expectation, selecting and testing. Buddhi, basically at they are using the word buddhi, is here at the level of thought, right? And then ahankar is the deluded uh, potential here, deluded faculty here, ahankar. Okay. Yeah. So basically, if you look at the faculty, there's a possibility that this faculty is also deluded. So if you look at it, it is also said that Brahmit Buddhi is Ahankar. So Buddhi is here at 2. So long as the understanding is not ensured, it is deluded. It is in the form of Ahankar. And when it is enlightened, then it is understanding. So the Buddhi is deluded earlier, and that deluded Buddhi is called as Ahankar. So this faculty at number 2 is deluded, right? And is being termed as Ahankar. And this is the faculty of Purush, pure self or Atma, which comes to realize. And this whole thing is being called a Chitta. If you look at the this aphorism or aphorism of uh, this thing, in Vedanta, you know, what is that first guru of Vedanta called? I am forgetting his name. Uh, any Vedant guru. Pardon? Anyway, I'm forgetting his name. No, 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 no. Who propounded again Vedanta in the 8th century? No, no, okay. Anyway, Shankaracharya, yes. So if you look at this shlok, he is saying, Man buddhi ahankar chittani naham. Shiva, Shivananda rupam shivam shivam. Chidananda rupam shivam shivam. Right? So this faculty is being called as uh, Chidanand. Rupam shivam shivam. So this is called as Chidanand, the ultimate, the Anand, faculty of Anand. And this part is whole Chit. And here we have Mand, Buddhi, and Ahankar. So the same self has been explained with these words. Man, Buddhi, Ahankar here, and they are components of Chit. So up to number 2, it is being called as Chit. Purush is the pure consciousness that is at the level 1. Okay. And it has various vrittis. Now if you look at this, here there are a lot of fluctuations in Bli2. And they are the vrittis. Right? So we have this imagination which is unguided, enslaved by preconditioning and sensation. Right? So this is unguided. Block B2 is being called as vritti. So he's saying yoga is chit vritti nirodha. So how to overcome the fluctuations in the chit here? which are termed as vritti, the mental modifications. The determinant of a conduct of human being, conduct is shaped by vrittis, modification of chitta and kleshas. So basically one has to get rid of kleshas and the various vrittis. So they are avidya, asmita, rag, dvesh and abhinivesh. And actions which are karma are guided by these afflictions and the corresponding sanskaras. So they are the determinant. Basically the conduct is being determined by the chitta and the kleshas. If you look at the full potential, so the full potential is kaivalya, liberation. So that state of enlightenment here at the level of Purush is called as kaivalya, a state of pure awareness, free from the influence of mind and matter. It is a realization of the true self, Purush, as separate from mind-body complex. In this state, the mind becomes still, and that is called as Chitta Vritti Nirodha. So Nirodha is the stillness, right? It is not suppression or repression. There is no suffering, no fear, no ignorance. Conduct is spontaneous and according to dharma and free of attachment. The prominent problems of an undeveloped human psyche, so restless mind, so chitta vikshep, kleshas, attachment to prakriti, and accumulation of karmic impressions, sanskaras and vasanas. So restless mind, constant fluctuations of thought and emotion, kleshas, the 5 kleshas that we mentioned, attachment to prakriti, so mistaking the mind-body complex of the self, and accumulation of karmic impressions, so perpetuating cycles of desire, aversion, and rebirth. So these are the prominent problems. And these are the 5 kleshas. So avidya, that is ignorance or misapprehension. So misperceiving the impermanent as permanent, the impure as pure, pain as pleasure, and the non-self as the self. And it is the foundation of all other kleshas. So avidya is basically ignorance. Okay, and how am I ignorant? So I treat the impermanent as permanent. Like this body is impermanent, I am treating it as permanent, right? The impure as pure, taking the vritti to be the pure, the ultimate. Pain as pleasure. In fact, if you look at the pleasure that we try to derive from sensation, it is basically a pain because it is binding me to the sensation. So if you observe with purity, if you observe as a pure observer, you can very much see that this is essentially a pain, not a pleasure. Every time I get craving for this, and if it is not fulfilled, I am unhappy. So within itself, it is a pain, isn't it? Though I am assuming it as a pleasure. And this is what has been termed as Maya by Shankaracharya. That I assume this to be pleasure, but though it is pain inside. You know? And then I get bounded by all this. So this is the root cause of all other kleshas. Believing material wealth leads to lasting happiness. So well, you can see how clearly we have been able to see all this. Thousands of years back. That if I try to believe material wealth to be happiness, then I'm going to be lost. Isn't it? I'm going to be unhappy. I'm going to be deprived. So if you see by like including UHV in education, we are trying to revive something that has been there. Only that there are certain points where clarity was not there. So we can see there's a lot of terminology here, but it is ultimately not getting clear what self is, what body is, right? And what are the faculties of self. Now, through this proposal that we are sharing in the education, it can become very much clear. Otherwise, people have attempted, right? Now, what is continuous, what is not continuous, what is permanent, what is not permanent, how self is different from the body, what is the potential of the self, what is the highest potential of the self. All that we can make very clear. Otherwise, if you try to take all these definition with so many classification to the students, they will lose interest. But if we can very much simplify it and place to the students and then let them study and explore, this will help them develop. So that's why this word philosophy has become somewhat a word of mockery. Oh, I don't want to listen to a philosophy. Because they feel that this is very complicated, nothing becomes clear, and we just get entangled in words. But essentially, if you talk about the reality, then people feel interested. Then asmita, egoism or I-ness, identifying the seer, the purush, pure consciousness with the seen, mind, body, and intellect. So essentially, what is ahankar? This asmita It is also ahankar. So basically, assuming this as me, right? Basically, I am this. I am inseparable from this, but I am basically this, which is the pure Atma or the pure Prakriti, pure Purush. I am here. But unknowingly, I assume myself to be all this. So I get entangled in various vrittis. So I have to observe from here, right? So over identification with the roles, labels, or the body, I am my achievements, I am my thoughts. So basically, thoughts are there in me. I am not the thoughts. Then rag, attachment. So clinging to the pleasurable experiences due to desire and memory of enjoyment. So creates craving and dependency. So example would be addiction to comforts, relationships, or possessions. Now here again, if I do not understand affection, then even though I am fulfilling the relationship, I can get attached. If I do not understand prosperity, when I am producing physical facility, I may get attached. So there are three things: attachment, detachment, and participation. So essentially, if you see, attachment is not acceptable to me naturally. So what was propounded is that you go for a detachment. But if you go simply for detachment, right, it is also not complete. Yes, I am not feeling attached, but what to do with the physical facility? How will I make the utilization of that? So I have to go for participation. So if you look at this, what we are saying here, we are taking one step forward. No attachment, fine, but not stopping at detachment, going one step further for participation. So I'm not feeling attached to physical facility, fine. I'm detached, this is also fine. But what to do with the physical facility? I have to make the right utilization. That one has to see. Just stopping at the stage of detachment will not be enough.
Yeah, then in some time we are telling na that realized self has a choice to come back and be a guide and help, or no, take a decision to no be in that state. In that way, if I be in that state, I'm not participating. Na then.
Yeah, so there could be multiple modes of participation.
Ha.
I can participate even without the body.
Ah, okay. Ha ha ha.
Now you can just see so many favorable things are happening on this planet.
Correct.
It's not
Correct.
only that we
Correct.
are doing.
Makes sense.
There could be
Correct.
so many self who are participating without the body, right? Those whom we worship as deities. In fact, there is one book called Many Lives, Many Masters, or Autobiography of a Yogi. So if you read all those books, I will get to see how these self without the body are operating, right? So that is also quite possible. But again, I'll say that in place of taking it as given, you can take it as a proposal and try to understand how this may work. No, this is after realization. Initially, we have to move from here to here. Yeah, once I'm here, this is all in harmony. But presently, this is not in harmony. According to Yog Darshan, there are various vrittis in my chit, which are fluctuations. I have to do nirodh, right? I have to do cessation of those vrittis so that I can be here, right? Once I am here, then this all falls in order.
Bhaiya,
Yes.
participating without body, how?
Pardon?
Participating
Without the body.
without the body.
Yes.
Can you explain that?
Yeah. So, for example, here you are sitting in the workshop hall, but are you thinking about your family? Thinking about family or not? Thinking, for their betterment, for their well-being. You're not utilizing your body here, right? But you are thinking about your family. Are you participating or not? Even now, we are participating without the body many times or most of the time. So I'm expressing my feeling with the family only on few occasions. Yeah. Pardon? No,
No, is
tell
it
me.
after not death?
Yeah, that you can do after death also.
How it's possible?
Yes. So I can communicate. See, presently also, I'm interacting with my body through space. When I'm interacting with other human beings, then also space is there between me and you. Only that the body is working as an instrument. So I can still communicate with you through space without the body. That possibility is there. We can keep it open and explore. But I am very much related. I am related to other self without the body also. I am related to the other through space. And only thing is that whether I can communicate to the other through space or not. So that possibility can be kept open. Why not?
Why are the yogis not communicating with us now? Bhaiya?
Pardon?
Why are the yogis who are no more not communicating with us?
How do you know?
So we do not have the realization, like we are not in the B1 stage to understand that
You
communication.
see, so many times there has been a situation as if nuclear war is going to take place, but it is not taking place. They might be participating. We can keep it as a possibility. They might be participating. There have been so many occasions on this planet when the planet would have been devastated, but it is still continuing.
Sir, when there's a conflict, okay, if there are conflict between two persons, if one person is giving good thoughts to the other person is not having the good thoughts, will that thought reach the other person? The good thoughts, whatever the other person is giving,
Like with body or without body, you are saying?
without the body. We are not communicating verbally.
Verbally,
Only
with the body,
thinking.
na?
With the body. With
So
the
you are
body.
saying that you are sharing some good thoughts
Yes.
and the other is not receiving.
I don't know whether will they receive.
Yeah, they will see. They have the same natural acceptance. It's only that they are associating happiness to something, and our proposal is not satisfying that perception of happiness. So they are not paying attention. Now they may get disillusioned due to certain things, and in the future, and they may start paying attention. This is quite possible. Take a mic, yeah.
After having a continuous thought about some good thing, then the situation itself will be will automatically supports my thought, and automatically that things will happen. I experienced that in my life for many times.
Yes, and that can be either coincidence or due to some other factor also, quite possible. So what we are saying, we need not depend on these factors. Okay, like the self without the body may be participating in my life, fine, but I'm not dependent on anything outside. So if I develop myself to the full potential, right, I do not need to depend on anything externally, isn't it? I can very much look into my natural acceptance and guide myself. It's more likely that it was a coincidence. Now just see, this airplane crashed in Ahmedabad. Only one person survived. Now one may give multiple reasons for that. There would have been so many people in the flight who would have been doing some good deeds, but they died. Right? There was one person who survived. He might not have been doing something better, might not have, right? But he survived. Now, in case he had been doing something so good for the society and he survived, then people would ascribe it to certain more reasons. Those people helped him, and those deities helped him, the self without the body helped him. So he tried to explain those phenomena in multiple ways. So we have to actually see what is happening. Okay. So presently with the body, we can observe the reality. Okay. When you are there not without the body, then again keep on exploring. This is quite possible. So rag is attachment, then dvesh, aversion, avoidance or hatred of unpleasant experiences. The effect would be causes fear, like it causes fear, anger, resentment. So dvesh, and let me not have it. Okay, I am having opposition. I am having feeling of revenge. I am having jealousy, right? I am having feeling for like what is called as uh, let something bad happen to the other. It is called matsari in Hindi. That feeling that I am wishing something bad for the other, and that is the worst kind of feeling which is called. So all this would be there in aversion. Take a mic. Yes.
So people are telling that like the group prayers or like if many people are like doing worshipping or they are asking for some good things to happen, then their thoughts will combine together, that will have more power, so the things will happen.
This is quite possible because like so many people are wishing for something good. So the cell without the body can also start operating there. That is quite possible. This may not be possible also. Like it is not, the other self is not able to participate in that manner. Now, there could be some astronomy or astrology also involved, astronomy involved here. That is possible, like the weather forecast if you see. So the weather, okay. Now it is determined by the condition of sun and moon. So that could be a possibility that the day, which is not fixed according to the English calendar, the day is fixed in such a way that it rains on that particular day. For example, on Janmashtami, it was raining according to the story. Now this Janmashtami did not rain in North India, right? It might have rained in multiple parts of India. One may say that it rains every time on Janmashtami, but that may not be the case also, because this is due to so many factors. If it keeps on raining, one may say that this is because of something divine, but it is not raining at all on certain occasions. So one may look into these possibilities also. Then abhinivesh, clinging to life or fear for death. So deep-rooted fear of losing one's existence, even the wise experience it, leads to anxiety, insecurity, and over-attachment to life. So fear of aging, illness, or death. So these are the 5 kleshas, okay? Yeah. So due to ignorance, see, if avidya is there,
No.
ignorance is there, which is the root cause. One is going to have all this.
But yeah, it's like a pattern that every one of us going through this
Yes,
ignorance, ego,
Yeah.
attachment, aversion. Every one of us having this aging fear
Yes,
because we don't want to lose it. We color everything we do.
So
But then,
the basic phenomena is that if I do not understand the existence as it is, I assume myself to be the body. So I assume wealth and sensation and feeling shared by others to be happiness. And then I will have these fears. It is going to be. The list could be longer.
is it like everybody is in that trap?
Yeah. So to begin with, everybody is bound to be in this trap, and then one has to come out of this.
Come out of it.
Yes.
That is a process.
Yeah, that is the process. And the list could be longer. So here they're only mentioning about clinging to life or fear of death. But there could be fear of losing post. There could be fear of losing post, losing name and fame, losing status in the society. All that could also be there. Right? We may also include that in abhinivesh.
You said, why do you want to live for 100 years? But there is a, but
No,
there
you
is
want to live or don't want to live?
You said you don't want to live. Okay. Okay.
I did not get you.
No.
Oh, you live for 1,000 years. Let me tell you that in the tradition,
There is
story.
a fear of death, but as far this observation is concerned, they're clinging to life. There is a fear of death. Fear of death will happen to everyone. Everyone will think our life is life we want to live. That's the major point. If it is the case, the souls will be eternal and they are communicating, and our souls are only eternal, and the body is going to be cremated or something will happen to our body only, not for the souls. If it is a case, the departed souls from our own family or from our neighbors or our friends, how they will communicate with our soul, and what is the way of communication with them, so that we can also get some ideas to lead our life in a better
First
manner.
of all, First of all, ensure proper communication in the family. Those who are with the body, then we'll think later on. है ना? Have fulfilling relationships in the family, in the department, in the institution. We'll think about all those things later on. है ना? See, if the health of the body is not ensured and you are continuing with the body, it's a big kind of misery for you. So it is very natural to leave the body after some time. Take a mic. No, mic is not working.
In some theory, they say that we meet people whom we never have met in this life, but we have a sensation, we have a feeling that we have been related to them very closely. We will suddenly get fond of that person at the very moment we meet them. So that says that our soul, maybe we might have been related to them in the past, or our soul recognizes that soul which is related to us in the past life. So it is a theory that
This
is
could be
prevailing.
possible. This could see. Ultimately, you are seeing the person with the body. This could be one possibility. There could be multiple other possibilities. So it could be also possible that by looking at the body of the other or expression of the other, you do some evaluation about the other and feel that this person can be my friend.
Almost all our Indian marriages are like that. Without knowing each other, the bride and bridegroom are get connected with each other after marriage.
Yeah. But again, the chaos starts after marriage, isn't it? So yeah, I was saying one thing, no, like you were saying about having more than 100 years of life. So there is one story about a person called Yayati. If you read Indian mythology, Yayati, you have heard of him? Yeah, so he wanted to live longer and he had wife. The name of the wife was? Yeah. So he was too much into sensual pleasure. Okay. So he was told by somebody that if your son contributes his life to you, you can live longer. Then his son came to him and said that if this is the end of an ultimate achievement that you are going to out of life, then I'm not interested in this kind of life. So take my life and I'm happy with myself. So he gave his life and lived for 100,000 years. And he was too much into sensual pleasure. And after 1,000 years, he found that ultimately he's unhappy. Right? Because if the source of happiness is your body or some sensation or physical facility, ultimately you are in pain, you are suffering, you are in clash. Nice. Process of developing the human psyche. The Yoga Sutras prescribe an eightfold path that we discussed. Through this process, the vrittis are restrained, kleshas are dissolved, and the mind becomes a clear reflector of the self. Right. So there's a description here that you come to a state in which, like for example, there is a money, a sphatic, okay, and it completely reflects something which is kept outside, like a mirror. So you come to a state where you are with the reality. The reality that is there, it is completely reflecting in you without any kind of illusion, without any kind of vrittis. So you become that much clear about the whole existence. And that is the final state that you want to be in. So I have no doubt, no confusion, no contradiction about the reality. I can see the reality as it is. It is completely reflected in me. And I'm very much living by it. That is the ultimate state of Kaivalya. Expression or proof of a developed human psyche. So steady mind, sthir chitta, an unshakable equanimity, freedom from kleshas and karmic bondage, spontaneous compassion, truthfulness and detachment. And then comes samadhi and kaivalya. So states of perfect clarity and liberation. Conduct becomes naturally aligned with the yamas and niyamas, not as forced discipline. So initially when you go for yama and niyama, so one may also assume that first of all I have to fulfill yam and niyam. Then only I can go further. It is not the case. Otherwise it becomes a big bondage for you. Kind of a pressurized discipline for you, forced discipline. For example, if you are trying to go for yam and niyam 100%, you may feel pain inside. You have the craving and you are not getting fulfilled. What to do? So what is being said that yam niyam is an indication that you have to move in that direction. Once you are at the stage of samadhi, then you naturally are in the stage of yam and niyam. You will not be stealing something. You will not be craving for something, right? It will come very naturally to you. Nice.
That I can feel it. More I don't want something, it's be in that mind. But then when I work for what is real, no, this is already getting subtle.
Yes, yes. See, if I understand the feeling of prosperity,
This
the
is
craving for
automatic.
physical facility will go away.
Automatic.
If I understand the source of happiness, the craving for sensation will go away.
Mm-hmm.
So in place of restraining the source of sensation, I can work for right understanding. This
Correct.
will naturally get taken care of. This is something that we have to ensure. And this has been indicated time and again in the tradition and by multiple philosophers, right? So don't try to restrain yourself. Like if you look at the whole teaching of Osho, what he's saying, that don't try to restrain yourself, try to reach that state of enlightenment, and this will naturally get taken care of.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because more that problem should not come, this should not, that
Yes.
not part is there. What should is not
Yes, yes.
process in the process. But
Here
when
also,
this-
like for example, if you are always saying to yourself, I do not need to react, I should not react, I should not react, and response is not clear, you'll keep on reacting to yourself. In fact, you can get more depressed because I'm not reacting outside and inwardly I'm having so much of contradictions. But if I'm responding or I'm going for response, then this will naturally get taken care of. Yes, yes, yes. So basically, it's not, basically the error is, or error could be, if you go for overconsumption, what is saying that if you go for overconsumption, you'll get fed up and you will abandon it. That may not be the case. You may get accustomed to it. And this may also lead to certain malpractice in the society. That is always possible. So going by all this, no, we are saying that go for self-exploration. It will also ensure harmony at every level. You don't need to create disharmony at any level to understand harmony. So live in harmony, try to understand harmony, and then will naturally lead to the state of realization. Nice. So with all this, we can now discuss Nyaya Darshan. Nyaya. Nyaya basically presently means justice, but in Darshan it means logic. So if you read logic, or you read about this law, then Indian philosophy that guides the academics for law is Nyaya Darshan. You'll see how precisely they have tried to articulate logic. So the term Nyaya means logic. The Nyaya system of philosophy is the pioneer in establishing the Indian logic. The Nyaya system believes that the world is real and our experiences of the same is true. It admits 16 categories. And what are those categories? So methods and objects of inquiry, there are two, Pramana and Prameya. Prameya is the object and Pramana is the means of valid knowledge. So as you saw, Prama, Pramata, Prameya and Pramana. Pardon? Like initially we talked about 4 terms, no? Object of knowledge. So Prama means the knower. Prama means knowledge. Pramata means the knower. Praman is the means of obtaining knowledge, right? And Prameya is the object of knowledge. So these 2 elements are there, Praman and Prameya. Then conditions and the components of inquiry. So there are these components like doubt. Doubt is sanshay. Purpose, prayojan, what you want to prove. Illustration, drashtant. Tenet, siddhant. Avayav, components of an argument. Tark, hypothetical reasoning. Ascertainment, nirnay, the final decision. Then forms and strategy of debate. So it could be vad, debate, jalp, wrangling, vitand, cavil, hitwa, bhasha, logical fallacy, kala, quibble, jati, wrong analogy, and nigrah sthana, point of defeat. Yeah, so all these words can be read. I'll explain briefly about this. Yes. What are you saying? Siddhant. tenet. So the principle. So when you are inquiring, what are you all doing? So you can have doubt about something. Then you want to prove something. That is the prayojan. Drashtant, you give some illustration. Siddhant is the principle based on which you are giving logic. Then aware of various components of the argument. Then tark, hypothetical reasoning. Nirnay, the final conclusion that comes out. Now here could be various forms of debate, right? So vad means I am saying something, you are responding. That is debate. Jalp, wrangling, saying something unworthy, but still clinging to my opinion. Then vitand, saying something again, something unworthy, right? At a higher scale, vitand, like which may not make sense. Logical fallacy, something illogical I am saying. Okay. Yeah. See, there are Sanskrit words. Yeah. I have not written details of this, but in fact, no, you can read all these words, and this will show you when two people are arguing. These are the issues. Maybe you can illustrate it, further. Okay. Yeah, they are in Tamil and basically they are in Sanskrit also. Yeah, that could be there. So the Nyaya accepts four means of knowledge: pratyaksh, that is perception; anuman, inference; upman, comparison; shabd, verbal testimony. In the model, all beings are subsumed under the framework of valid knowledge. Prama means valid knowledge, means of valid knowledge, pramar; object of valid knowledge, prameya; and subject of valid knowledge, pramata. The Nyaya philosophy accepts the existence of God Ishwar. The cycle of creation and dissolution is without any beginning, and the universe is created by Ishwar with the help of the eternal atoms, time, individual minds, space, and individual self, jivas, and ether, in accordance with the past deeds of the individual selves, jivas. So here they are saying that God has been the creator. So God is there, Ishwar is there, and God is the creator. Right? Now again, we can look into the Hindi words for each of these. So how the creation takes place? So Paramanu, atoms are there, Kal is there, individual minds are there, space is there, jivas are there, and as a culmination of all these, the creation is taking place. So if you look at the core issues, so epistemology, if you see, so these four pramans are accepted: pratyaksh, anuman, upman, and shabd. I'm not explaining all of them. We are clear about them, isn't it? The focus is on eliminating error, that is mithya gyan, and attaining true cognition. So mithya gyan is basically the error, something that I have not rightly understood. That is the mithya gyan. Logic and reasoning. So Nyaya developed a systematic methodology for reasoning, including the 5-member syllogism, Panch Vayava. It addresses the problem of Hitva Bhasha, fallacies of inference, and teaches methods to avoid them. So how we generally come to make mistakes in our reasoning and how to avoid that. If you look at the metaphysical issues, so while its primary focus is epistemology, any question? While the primary focus is on epistemology, the Nyaya shares a metaphysical foundation with Vaisheshik. So the metaphysical foundation is similar to Vaisheshik. It accepts the reality of soul, that is Atma, Ishwar, and then external world as real. consciousness is considered an attribute of the self, Atma, and not its essence. So again, we can see that consciousness has been placed differently from Atma here. So basically, many times if you see, Atma or pure Purush is placed at the activity of realization, isn't it? And consciousness is appearing by the culmination of that Atma with the body. Suffering and liberation. So liberation is called as Apvarga here. There we are calling Kavalya, right? Here it is being called as Apvarga. So the core aim is liberation from suffering, dukh. Suffering arises due to false knowledge, that is mithya gyan, attachment and aversion, wrong conduct. Liberation, that is Apvarga, is achieved through right knowledge and detachment. Error and doubt. So Nyaya deals extensively with the causes of doubt, sanshay and error. It analyzes cognitive errors, illusions, and the conditions under which false knowledge arises. Debate and dialogue. So Vad, Jalp, and Vitand. So Nyaya provides a structured framework for intellectual debate to refine and test the knowledge. It classifies debate into three: Vad, Jalp, and Vitand. So constructive debate is Vad, wrangling someone is Jalp, and destructive criticism is Vitand. So it is mostly talking about logic. It is not so oriented about the self, the body, that is the consciousness, material and space, more towards logic and developing a logic system. Yeah, this part is clear. We can discuss more about it. In fact, no, as an assignment, we can study this. We can study all these methods of inquiry and how we, in our verbal language, in our communication, come to do this, right? Nice. The role of logic in mental development. So Nyaya emphasizes critical thinking, reasoning, and debate to purify the mind and eliminate misconceptions. Logical training is a psychological method to sharpen perception and reduce mental errors. So by reasoning also, we can remove illusionment to a large extent, right? Rationally, if something is not valid, then it cannot be there. So psychological view of consciousness, if you see, so consciousness is not a property of the mind or body. It belongs to the soul, but it is episodic. In deep sleep, unconsciousness prevails due to the absence of connection between mind and senses, but the self remains. So you can see, like, we do not get that much of clarity by looking into all these words: self, consciousness, mind, soul, right? Purush. Okay. So when you are in deep sleep, now I'll explain from here. What happens in the deep sleep? When do you say that sleep is deep? So something that is coming from the body is not disturbing your sleep. Presently, we are regularly interacting with the body. When the sleep is not deep and you are dreaming, let's say, right? Or you are able to sense the body also, then the interaction is taking place between the self and the body. In deep sleep, this becomes dull. This interaction with the self and body becomes dull. But the activity is going on, but the content is not coming from here. So many things that you remember because you are associating with the body, they are not there. So generally, there will be a lot of peace here. No turmoil, no contradiction, lot of peace here, right? But the activity is going on. That is deep sleep. So you'll see that when you are sleeping for 7 hours, at the most you get deep sleep for 2 hours or 2.5 hours, that much. You are in perfectly deep sleep. And before and after that, again, the sleep is not that much deep. But during the deep sleep also, your activities are continuing. It's not that activities have stopped. So looking at the psychology here. So human psyche, that is consciousness in Nyaya. So consciousness is not the inherent nature of the soul, that is Atma. It is an attribute that arises when the self, that is Atma, mind, manas, sense organs, indriyas, and external objects, vishayas, interact. So it is saying that ultimately the self is there, the soul is there, right? But is not inherent. So that soul interacts with the body, and then all these appear. So when the self, that is Atma, mind, manas, sense organs, indriyas, and external objects interact, then only we appear as consciousness. Then Atma is eternal, all pervasive, and the true self. Now here Atma is not being treated as a unit, right? It is being treated as all pervading. Consciousness arises only when the self is in contact with the mind and sense organs. So that all pervading Atma is in contact with the body, which is there as a unit, and then the implication is consciousness. Thus, consciousness in Nyaya is episodic and contingent, not permanent. So it happens from time to time as an episode, right? And depends, it is contingent. So unlike Vedanta, which considers consciousness intrinsic. So these are minute differences between various philosophies. Is that part clear? So we are just trying to look into various philosophies, various ways of looking at the consciousness, the material, and the submergence, right? Then the determinant of conduct of human being. So conduct is determined by knowledge, that is gyan, and desire, that is ichha, which arise from the interaction of self, body, and senses, self, mind, and senses. So basically, my gyan and my ichha. So it means the development of the self that will determine a conduct. Karma, that is action, follows from desire, which is based on the correct or incorrect knowledge. The right knowledge, that is prama, leads to dharmic conduct, while false knowledge, that is viparya or sanshaya or anadhya vasaya, anadhya vasaya, that leads to adharma. So you'll see that every philosophy will have its own grammar, its own vocabulary, right? Its own terminology, and we have to read that. And they're essentially trying to indicate the reality only. But you can study in depth what all is being said. And there will be finer difference. Even in the same philosophy, you will find that there have been different sages, different rishis who have tried to interpret. So Vedanta is interpreted by Shankaracharya in one way, some other guru in other way, some other guru in other way, and there are so many versions. Similarly, in Nyaya Darshan, in Vaishesik, in Sankhya, there have been so many rishis who have tried to interpret. They will interpret Ishwar in one way, somebody will interpret Ishwar in some other way. And that's how with these 6 darshan, we'll see that there are multiple bhashya, multiple interpretations coming up. And there will be minute variations. And there will be people who would be following those variations. So they become different sects. And they are going by those sects. That is possible. Then the full potential of the human psyche. So here it is being called as upvarg. So full potential is achieved when one attains upvarg, liberation, freedom from all suffering, that is dukh. It is a state where the soul is free from ignorance, false knowledge, attachment, and the cycle of birth and death. This potential is unlocked through valid cognition, that is prama, via 4 pramans: pratyaksh, anuman, upman, and shabd. Detachment, that is vairagya, and ethical action, that is dharma. And what are the prominent problems? So if you look at the problems of undeveloped psyche, so the basic problem is mithya gyan, false knowledge. So wrong notions about self, world, and liberation. Then sanshaya, doubt, inability to determine the truth. Then viparya, misapprehension. So mistaking the unreal for the real. Pramad, inattention or negligence. So failure to apply the knowledge properly. And then rag and dvesh, attachment and aversion. So root cause of bondage and suffering. So these are the various problems. Now there we are calling at avidya. If you look at Yoga Darshan, we are calling it as avidya, right? In Nyaya Darshan, we are calling it mithya gyan. It is similar to avidya, ignorance. Now pramad, if you see, right? Now this one, viparyaya, misapprehension. So they are in Yoga Darshan, we are calling one word, no? For example, assuming no, lotus to be there in the sky. There was one word for that. Viparyaya. Yeah, here. Bhranti Darshan. Bhranti Darshan is similar to Viparya. Misinterpretation of the practice of philosophy. Nice. Okay. Yeah. Then process of developing the human psyche. So the Nyaya path is epistemological and logical based on the right knowledge leading to liberation. So Praman Gyan, valid knowledge acquisition. That can be through perception, inference, comparison, and reliable testimony. So Vivek is discrimination, distinguishing truth from falsehood. So here if you see this word discrimination having different meaning. Generally, we also use the word discrimination for differentiation. Okay. So generally when we have to set the question papers, I avoid using the word discrimination because the correct meaning of discrimination is vivek, wisdom. That when used in the tradition. So we need to make sure that we are using the word differentiation and not discrimination. Right? So what would the process of developing the human psyche? That is process of reaching the state of upvarg. So distinguishing truth from falsehood, that is Vivek. So basically Vivek discrimination means to distinguish between right and wrong. Okay, between truth and falsehood. Then Vairagya detachment, reducing attachment to transient pleasures. Dharma acharan, righteous action, aligning conduct with knowledge. Atmagyan, self-realization, understanding the nature of the self and the reality. Upvarg, finally liberation, ultimate freedom from suffering. Then expression or proof of a developed human psyche. So clarity of knowledge, that is no confusion, no misapprehension. Equanimity and detachment, freedom from excessive desire and aversion. Right action, that is dharma, naturally follows from there. So conduct becomes stable and beneficial for self and society. Absence of suffering, that is dukh nivritti. So the soul remains untouched by pain. And finally, upward, liberated state, final proof of full development. Yeah. Now let us discuss also because there would be so many words coming. From every philosophy, you can see at least 20, 30 more words are coming, isn't it? Pardon?
Which we could understood is leaving all these, no, going only with that one slide properly to lifetime is more than enough.
Yes, yes.
Because that holistic view is in this picture.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
connect is good.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Now,
like
this will also give an assurance that if you're studying this UHV, it's not that so many other things have been said which you have not studied. You can study all this and then see that ultimately I have to study this. So that satisfaction would be there in you that I have gone through all this and finally concluded this. Because all these are not understood. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Many times it so happens, no, that it could be due to ahankar also, that people try to make something very complex. It could be a possibility that people might have tried to make things very complex so that it is superior, and they lose the basic essence. So, for example, if I have to prove that I'm a very good physics professor, I'll explain everything as
I was about to say that, Bhaiya, in all darshans and most of the modern psychology, we are seeing the way to get us relieved from suffering and pain only. So it's like pain is the ultimate pathway to reach that liberation. Pain is the only thing that we need to get liberated from. Most of the traditions and psychology is saying, but I can see in UHV we have put a single term like sensations, so which includes everything, including excitement.
Yeah.
So in most of the things, it's everything we see here is pain, suffering, pain, suffering. So I was wondering why. What is sufferings and
Yeah.
that Anandamaya, which we want to reach.
So the good part is that now you can see the difference. That's very good. It is something as I am also exploring while conducting this workshop. So if you look at the Western psychology to begin with, it was mostly talking about abnormal behavior. And then they are gradually turning towards happiness in a limited sense, right? Here they are talking about abnormalities, always the final state. But where the focus has to be there, that has to be decided. Yeah. Now, if you focus on the self-exploration part, life becomes much easier. Okay. And here also we are talking about relationship. For example, you can see in all the darshans, the relationship has not been focused to that extent. Family, it was never appearing, right? Or production of physical facility for fulfilling the needs, feeling of prosperity. This is something as a major concern which you are able to address. Now you talk about Gyan, you talk about Kaval, you talk about Upwork, you talk about Keval Gyan, all those things. But how to become prosperous in a family? How to fulfill my relation with the in-laws? How to fulfill my role in the organization where I'm working? That part has to be clear. And that has to be the content of study. It's not that it is some kind of inference. We have to directly address it. Nice. In fact, as we go on through courses on psychology, sociology, economics, and we are able to take it effectively in the academics, people are able to see the priority for all this, the clarity that we are getting here. So this could be the essence of all that could be studied in humanities. Yes, yes. At least for the humanities part, it can be made very simple. Otherwise, no, if somebody is studying philosophy and going through all the terminologies and ultimately relationship is not being discussed, okay, the production system is not being discussed, one gets lost.
Discussing by a maximum in this all, they worked only on the self, not with the relationship,
Yes.
society. So this is the holistic picture.
Yeah.
Ultimately, all the levels.
Yeah. And we can keep it open to the society and let people decide, and we can make it better and better.
Correct.
So that the gist comes out in a holistic manner. Yeah, not talking participation. Yes. Yes. Yeah. And as if I am bonded, I have to get liberated. But what about participation? If liberation is ultimate goal, do I also get liberated from relationship? So whether I have to get liberated from relationship or I have to fulfill the relationship, isn't it? Whether I have to work only for getting liberated from this bondage or I have to work for human tradition on the planet. Otherwise, it becomes a escape kind of thing. And that tradition we can see. In fact, so people have the pure natural acceptance, but somehow people get unguided, and because we are not talking about the core thing, the relationship, harmony, and coexistence. So we can see so many like uh, people arriving at Mahakumbh, with all those traditions. But whether they have a family or not is questionable. Whether they are producing for themselves or not, it's questionable, right? Isn't it? But the good part is that as we get exposed to all this, we are able to now clearly see that yes, what we are doing was fine, right? It's not that we are uh, omitting out something or leaving out something. Nice. Yeah, so we have discussed Nyaya Darshan. Now we can go to discuss Vaisheshik Darshan. So it is almost similar. Only thing, the another element that has been added here is Vishesh, and that's how it became Vaisheshik Darshan. Yes, any question from Mahesh ji? है ना? Huh? Yeah, Suman ji, Dadish ji. Fine, everything going well? Not listening. Okay. They might be caught up in some work. Eh? Yeah, they might have gone for a natural call also. That is also possible. Okay. Psychology in Vaisheshik Darshan. So the Vaisheshik system believes in the reality of the world and recognizes 7 padarthas. Earlier in Sankhya, there were 25 padarthas, 25 elements. Here they are talking about 7 padarthas or categories, which are substance, that is dravya, quality, that is gun, action, that is karma, generality, that is samanya, particularity, that is vishesh, relation of inherence, that is samvaya, and non-existence, abhav. So 7 padartha. So they are saying that the world is made up of the 7 padarth. In fact, the name Vaisheshik is kept because it is the one that introduced particularity, vishesh, as the category. The system also believes that liberation is the supreme goal of human life. One can attain liberation through the knowledge of the similarities and the dissimilarities of these categories. So one has to study the 7 padarth, and we can study the similarity and the dissimilarity among them, and that will lead to liberation. So these 7 elements are there: substance, that is dravya, quality, gun, action, karma, generality, samanya, particularity, vishesh, relation of inherence, samvaya, and non-existence, abhav. The followers of the system of philosophy also accept the existence of God, and they say that the God created, sustained, and destroyed the universe. So God is the creator, sustainer, and the destroyer. Now, earlier, if you see in Sankhya also, it was not acceptable. Even in Yoga, God is acceptable, not as the creator, right? So, according to Vaisheshik school, the will of God is the cause of our creation. He causes the combination of the moving atoms, and thus is instrumental in the creation of the world. At the time of dissolution of the universe, the entire world is reduced to the primary state of the 7 categories. So the Nyaya and Vaisheshik have been independent systems till 10th century, but after that, a combined stream known as Vyaya Vaisheshik is found. So the Vaisheshik system is given credit to discover the atomic theory of creation for the first time, and it has also influenced the Indian medicine, Ayurveda. So basically, they have introduced the atomic theory here, that an atom is there, and from there, how this world got created, and how after destruction takes place, how the world would be. So if you look at the core issues, nature of the Atman. So Atma is the central psychological entity. It is eternal, all-pervading, immaterial. Each individual being has a separate self. Consciousness is not inherent to the self. It arises through conjunction with mind and senses. Now, this is a common kind of notion or common kind of proposition that is placed in the darshan. That basically the self is the culmination of either Purush and Prakriti, or this Atma with the body. So it is not inherent to the self. The same thing that is being said here in Nyaya also. So psychological attributes of the Atma include desire, that is Ichha, aversion, dvesh, effort, prayatna, pleasure, sukh, pain, dukh, knowledge, gyan. And these are considered gunas of the soul. So we are clear about these words. So what are the psychological attributes? So Ichha is there, aversion is there, effort is there, right? Pleasure is there, pain is there, knowledge is there. Now here you can see that rag has not been placed. Attachment is not placed. So maybe attachment is equated to Ichha here. That could be the case. Manas, mind, described as atomic, anu, minute, indivisible, and non-physical. So functions of the internal sense organ, antahkarana. Sequential attention, Manas can connect to only one external sense at a time, explaining why humans cannot attend to multiple sensory inputs simultaneously. So basically, now if you look at the mind here, it is explained as anu, a small atom, which is minute, individual, and non-physical. No, it is a conscious atom. Yes. It is non-physical. So, yes, yes. Essentially, if you see the self, which is continuous, is an atom. It is a conscious atom. And it is indivisible. It does not have physical properties. It has different properties. So if you look at the development that took place through Madhya Darshan, so they have clearly, in Madhya Darshan, it is clearly explained what the self is in terms of Jivan. So the new word that has been coined is Jivan, and it has replaced that consciousness atom. Ji.
Humans cannot attend to multiple sensory, but is it so? Because
Yeah.
we are listening as well as reading there. Everything is writing.
So
And,
in the thousandths of a second, you are shifting your attention.
okay.
So, like for example, if I'm sitting here for 10 minutes, so many parts of seconds can be made here. And every part of the second I'm paying attention here and there. So that is somewhat fine.
So it's so
Somewhere
negligible.
I'm paying attention at this moment. Yeah. So if you observe it very minutely, we are shifting attention from one point to another point and at a very minute level. So new word has come here, antahkaran. Okay. So this all functions as antahkaran. Now in Yoga Darshan, we are calling as chit and vritti. Right? Here the word is antahkaran. So different kind of terminology here. Then the process of cognition, that is knowing, so requires the conjunction of four factors: earth, indriya, manas, and atman, object, sense, mind, and self. Cognition occurs when an external object comes into contact with the appropriate sense organ, which is connected to the mind, which in turn connects to the self. Consciousness is episodic, it's not continuous. It arises only when these connections are active. Now you can just see almost something similar has been said in Bodh Darshan also, something similar is being said here also. So Jan Darshan is saying consciousness is continuous. In Bodh Darshan, they are saying no, it is a culmination of all those five things. So Vedana and Sangya and then Sanskar and then here also it is being said that it is kind of culmination. So typical Hindu philosophy, if you see, so the consciousness has been treated as the culmination of that Atma or Purush with the Prakriti or the body. So it becomes questionable whether consciousness is continuous or not. So what is continuous? And that which is Atma, is it a unit or a space? That becomes debatable, right? And that has been the core of, I'll say, debate or confusion. Should I assume the human being, the self, to be the continuous or temporary? Is the self limited in space or all pervading? So general idea that comes is that all pervading space is reflecting on the body and it becomes consciousness. That is which is coming out from here. So we have to be very clear about this particular reality. Yeah.
This thing is there now. Maybe you all would have gone through. Which point you made that self is continuous?
So that clarity we got,
Reference.
yeah, that clarity got through Madhyav Darshan. So the word that is used there is Jivan, and it is clearly explained how the Jivan exists. So like we can see a similar analogy here also. Okay, but the clarity is not there that much. What is space? What is consciousness? What is body and material? That clarity we got through Madhyav Darshan. Right? So it has been attempted, and we are getting clarity piece by piece, one by one, and that we could get through this particular darshan. So according to this Vaisheshik, consciousness is episodic. So if the body is there, consciousness comes up. Body is gone, consciousness goes out. Okay, though the soul remains. Now what we are saying, that soul is one faculty of consciousness and it remains. But again, you have to see how you relate consciousness. If consciousness is the coexistence of self and body, then it is episodic. But if you look at that conscious unit atom, it is continuing. Association is episodic, isn't it? It is not continuous. Memory and sanskars. So memory, that is smriti, arises from past experiences, living impressions, sanskaras in the soul. These impressions persist even in deep sleep or between rebirths, forming the basis of habits and recollections. So these impressions, that is sanskar, now you can see that sanskar has been accepted in every philosophy. So something that comes out. So it is not only material, everybody is saying that. Purush is there, or something consciousness is there. Something which is not material is there. We call it Purush, we call it Atma, we call it Brahm, something is there. And then consciousness is there, right? Whether it is episodic or continuous. So in Vedanta, they are saying as continuous, intrinsic. Here it is being said that it is episodic. Yeah. And sanskars are there. So everybody is struggling with the sanskar and trying to get rid of sanskar. Now there the sanskar was appearing as klesh. Many kinds of klesh. Here we are calling a sanskar. Buddha is calling as sanskar. Right? We'll have that comparison towards the end when we have studied all the darshan. We'll put all those in one place and then see how various propositions have been put forward. So smriti is there as the sanskar. Then emotions and volition. So emotions such as desire, hatred, and pleasure, pain are gunas of the self, not products of the body. Prayatna, that is effort, is the basis of volition and is responsible for initiating action. So knowing takes place by prayatna. Now in Yoga Darshan we are calling as abhyas. Here we are calling as volition. Okay. So the idea is the same, different word is being used. Prayatna. Then suffering and liberation. So suffering, that is dukh, is the central human problem caused by ignorance, attachment, and karmic bondage. Liberation, that is moksha, is a state of complete cessation of suffering, pleasure, and pain. It is not a state of bliss, but one pure existence. Now again, the liberation here, moksha, word has come. So earlier we are using the word kavalya. Now here the word is moksha. And it is not a state of bliss, but of pure existence. Now how it is related to Nyaya psychology? So Vaisheshik and Nyaya share similar views on nature of the self, function of mind, sequential attention, role of sanskaras, liberation and cessation of suffering. So the difference is that Vaisheshik focuses more on the ontological categories like padarthas, while Nyaya elaborates epistemology and logic. So here they are more into Padarthas, they are explaining the existence, the way existence is, while the Nyaya Darshan is focusing more on the way we generate logic. The psychological implications for the attention, if you see only one object at a time, atomic mind theory. Okay, so they are saying that we can pay attention to only one entity at a time. Oh, namaste. Siddharshini is here. Consciousness is episodic, not intrinsic to self. Learning is through perception, inference, comparison, and testimony, which is also accepted by Nyaya. Behavior is driven by desire, aversion, and effort. Habits and personality are rooted in sanskaras across lifetimes. So the sanskaras goes from one birth to another. They are carried forward. Nice. So we can compare the Nyaya and Vaisheshik. What would be the psychological similarities? So both consider soul as eternal and consciousness as episodic. So the soul, that is Atma, is there. It is permanent. And Jeev, that is the consciousness, is episodic. Yeah. So basically, if you see, the soul is this. Okay. Consciousness is here. So they are saying that this is permanent, this is continuing, right? Now this is whether a unit or a space, that has been matter of contention. Now whether this is associated with the soul forever, or this integrates and disintegrates, that is a matter of contention. Yeah, mind is one faculty of consciousness. Basically, mind can also be related to the Prakriti. So mind could be a culmination of this soul with the body. Now again, mind has been used in different philosophies in different sense, right? So both explain memory as based on sanskars. So the smriti, how it goes from one life to another or remains in one life. Both emphasize desire, aversion, pleasure, pain, effort, and cognition as soul entities. Both accept the atomic nature of mind. Now, if you look at the various aspects, founder, so Gautam Rishi was the founder of Nyaya Darshan, while Kanad Rishi is the founder of Vaisheshik Darshan. The text here is Nyaya Sutra, here Vaisheshik Sutra. The main focus here is logic, reasoning, epistemology. Here the main focus is metaphysics, atomism, categories. The Praman, 4 are here, 2 are here, but it later become 4. So the Praman are also the same. Perception, inference, comparison, verbal testimony. Right? Categories, they are used but not primary here, and there are 7 padarthas here. View of God, it later became theistic. This also later became theistic. Initially, they were not accepting. Theistic means accepting God. Earlier, they were not accepting. The goal is liberation via true knowledge. Here also the same. And approach is analytical, how to know. Here is ontological, what exists. So Nyaya Darshan is mostly logic. So it is similar to cognition that we studied. So how to apply logic to understand the reality. Now if you see logic has 3 parts. The premise, the rule of construct, and the conclusion. So as we studied for Anuman also. So the premise is that I see that there is smoke behind the hill. The rule of construct is that smoke can only be there when the fire is there. Otherwise it is not there. This is the rule of construct. And hence we conclude that fire is there. So similarly, they have tried to reason out how we can say that consciousness is there. How you can say that Atma is there. How you can say that the final attainment or liberation is there. So that can also be dealt with to a large extent through logic. But ultimately you have to observe, because the premise is something to subject to your observation. The rule of construct is also subject to your liberation, to your observation. How do you know that smoke is there? Through direct perception. How do you know that smoke is only there when fire is there? Now this is again subject to your direct perception. If the two are true, then only we can conclude that fire is there.
Vaya.
Yes.
So every people at their own age of life, they're coming up with different ideologies. So is it necessary for our period to go through and understand all this? Instead, the very first religious Vedas, can we just stick on to that and then connect UHV to this? Because everybody who is coming through different ages are bringing up these different ideologies, and it's quite confusing. Is it necessary for us to know all these ideologies from different perspectives from the people side?
Yeah, so if you look at Vedas also, you'll find that some ontology is there, some epistemology is there. Okay, so this all has been there in the Vedas also, right? And along with it, some rituals are there, isn't it? So basically, when we are studying this, we are studying the Vedas only because they are all Vedic tradition. So we're studying the Vedas only. So we can go through this. And again, you have to take Vedas also as a proposal. If you assume it to be true, then again it is not going to come to the living, because we'll have our own presuppositions, our own conditionings, and this will not percolate in our behavior or work or participation.
Like how we have scientific knowledge which is coming up with experiments and finally concluding one point, same way there'll be a lot of these philosophies, but have we concluded at one thing, this is the final, this is the experimental proof with proof, something that is more conclusive?
Yeah, Hannah. So if you look at this, so for example, when we are saying this, right? So this is something that has come through realization. And these all are there, right? We might not have been able to meet Gautam Rishi or Kanad Rishi. This is quite possible. But we could meet the person who realized this. And we could see his living. So this gave us further assurance, and it also gave us simplicity. That yes, this can be simply understood. No need to go into so many details. And this can be brought to education also. But when you are bringing to education, you have to bring in a universal manner, right? So we are not calling it as something as Hindu philosophy or Baudd philosophy or Jain philosophy. You talk about the reality, the ontology. You talk about the reality, okay, and leave it as a proposal. And talk in such a manner that it ensures harmony at all levels. So if you look at the basic guidelines, the first guideline, it has to be universal. Then rational. So we are applying logic also. It has to be rational. It has to be verifiable. So it has to be ontological also, that you are able to see what exists. And the final thing which has to be shared is it has to be leading to harmony.
UHV content is taken from all these philosophies.
It is the essence of all these. Now you can see that we have been trying to address the consciousness, the space in multiple ways. Okay. Now if you read them carefully, what they are trying to say and try to bring out the essence, it is something like this. And we got further clarity because they were having so many propositions. Further clarity we got through Madhyav Darshan. It further certified it. So we went through Baudd Darshan, Jain Darshan, all the Vedic Darshan, right? And finally Madhyav Darshan. And then we could make out the syllabus for education based on all this. And now with the UHV input, we can rightly interpret what is being said. So whether it is episodic or continuous. So now we can see this, that self is there. In the self, the imagination, whatever the content of imagination, episodic. But the imagination is there, whether I'm with the body or without the body. Now, whether they are calling consciousness as imagination or consciousness as self, now that becomes a confusion. Now we can very much see that the self is going to continue. They are also saying self is continuing.
So they are saying that the self is continuing. Are there more evidences to say that the self is continuous? Have you actually gone through these evidences to show that self is continuous?
So one thing is that you can see yourself different from the body. Okay. So we are getting so many proposals. Now how to verify? even what Madhya Darshan is saying or what these darshans are saying, how do you verify? So at the base, you have to observe yourself as a pure observer. So, and when you observe, you can see the reality as it is. Otherwise, this only becomes a kind of story. So you can observe yourself different from the body. It is very much possible and not a very difficult thing. It's only that we are not prioritizing it. Otherwise, since you are different from the body, you decide and you can observe. This is quite possible. You just decide that I have to shift myself from the body while going to sleep tonight. Okay.
That will be more a illusion.
Whether it is illusion or observation, that you will make out. So you can very much see. That's what now we are saying self-verification. This is all a proposal. Now what is happening? We are getting multiple proposals. We are trying to bring out an essence, but that essence will also not work for you unless you verify yourself. If you verify and come with something different, then that also becomes a proposal for others. But you verify yourself. So you can see very much yourself that I'm not the body. And I'll say that this is not a very distant kind of observation. It is only a matter of assigning the right priority to this observation. If I assign that, yes, this is of utmost importance for me, unless I observe myself different from the body, rest whatever I discuss will not make any sense to me. Then you can observe.
You can tell us some short stories.
Pardon?
You can tell us some examples. Examples.
Again, that will become a story for you. So no need. We have so many stories. I'll share one story. Like Shankaracharya was there. Okay. So he went to have debate with Mandan Mishra. And his wife was Maitreyi, probably, if I remember correctly. So during the debate, he won with Mandan Mishra. Then Maitreyi came into picture and she said that I have few questions. Do you know the pains of a woman who lost his wife, her husband, sorry, woman who lost her husband? Something like that was asked. And then this person said, Shankaracharya, that you do not have a response to this, give me 40 days. So the king of that state had just died. So he went into the body of this king who had died. He left his body in one place, right? Went to the body of the king, lived like a king for 40 days with his wife, and then came back. So this is quite there. This has been there. If you read multiple books, if you want to have stories, there are people in the Himalayas who will leave their body in one place and move around, come back, start walking again. So that is quite possible. Yeah. So this is, but again, I'm saying that don't base your observation on these stories because this is again subjective. You have to observe objectively. Otherwise, this will become new kind of superstition. The self is different from the body. Okay. Already the West is into it. West is trying to deny this. Most of the theories in the West are trying to deny this. So what we are saying, observe yourself, self-verify.
Can't we have scientific evidences for this?
See, what is scientific?
You have a solid documentation.
Yeah. What is evidence? Now here we saw there are 6 kinds of evidences. So most of the time we are looking at external perception only as the evidence. And that is somewhat fallacious. How do you know that you exist? Do you observe with your eyes that you exist? No, presently also, how do you know that you exist? You or your body? So you say both. It means you are there. What is the proof? Scientifically. The brain can also do this. Brain. It may be explained through brain also.
Mic on.
Yeah. No, not audible. Take another mic.
Yeah, through behavior, I'm just showing that I'm existing, even though my brain
So
is
one
thinking.
can explain on the brain also that this is all being done by the brain.
Pardon?
This all activity is being governed by the brain.
Yes, that's what the brain is thinking, but the activity it is showed in the behavior through my material body. So it shows that I'm existing. If my brain is going to think, I'm not going to show any behavior or activities. It shows that I'm not.
So are you the brain or different from brain?
Are you brain or different?
Different from brain.
It is both.
No. Are you the brain or different from brain?
It is brain.
It is brain only.
Mm.
Yeah, find it out. So when you say my brain, then why are you using my brain? We can use the word I for brain. Why do we say my brain?
See, there are few patients like they whatever the brain is thinking and they do, like they say like because psychiatric patients when they get.
We take a different mic. It is not working. Or you speak little closer to that.
Yeah. Hello. Check. Yes, sir. Yes, it's working. See, usually few psychiatric patients, they say that whatever they are saying through the brain, they sometimes think abnormally.
They think sometimes above?
Abnormally. Like
yeah.
it is normal perception, it is abnormal perception, disorder of thinking. So we consider those as a psychiatric patient. So we give treatment for them. It is giving treatment for the brain, it is for the body we are giving. Then it means that we are treating the body to make the brain.
But it is all within the domain of body. So whether the self is there or not.
That's what the self is behaving, not understanding the content properly, behaving it abnormally. So I'm giving the medication to the body and making it.
No, I am asking, is the self the brain or different from brain?
Self and brain is same.
Same. Okay. So if you say that the self and brain is the same, then I will not say my brain, I will say I for brain. One thing. Second thing, now we can apply some logic here. Let's say there is no self, you are only the body. Okay. For time being, please attention here. For time being, let us assume that you are only the body. There is no self, no consciousness, nothing. You are only the body. Fine. And you have lived some life, and after some time body dies. What remains?
No.
Nothing. So why to attend the workshop? Why to go for degree? Why to go for PhD? Why to do for?
That self is no. That is what people are
Pardon?
saying. Like after our death, we do not know what is happening. As now UHV saying the self is
No,
existing.
you are. So we'll keep it open. In that case, we'll not say that I am the body. We'll say that I don't know. Otherwise, if you are saying that human being merely the body, and once the body is gone, nothing remains. Right? So what good has it made by working so hard throughout your life? You are publishing so many papers and trying to cling to your job, fulfilling so many goals, setting so many targets, achieving so many things in life. Ultimately, nothing will remain. Pardon?
The treatment.
After death, how does it matter? How does it matter whether a person live for 8 years or 80 years? How does it matter whether a person live with disrespect or become world famous? It is not acceptable to you naturally also. Otherwise, why will we make so much of effort? We are just like the plant. The plant crops from the soil, becomes a tree, goes back to the soil. If nothing is going to remain, if nothing is continuous, then why to make so much of effort? Yes. In fact, no, there's a humorous part of it. So one student in my class was saying that how do you say that self is there? Then I said the same thing. Let us assume that self is not there. You are merely the body. Okay. Then you died one day, right? You went to the soil. In the soil, grass came up. You became the soil, became the grass. The grass was eaten by the cow. Okay. It became a part of the food of the cow. The cow gave dung. Then it became dung. Is this what I want to be? Why to get so much of education, work so hard, if you have to become dung after some time?
Yesterday you said Siddh is skill. Skill is related to body or conscious. Realizing full potential is skill or what?
Realizing full potential. No,
Full
that is not a
potential.
skill.
Ah.
Siddhi is something else. Like it may be the case that I am not having all these enlightened state, nirvana or apvarg or kaivalya or anand or pamanand. I am not having that state. I am having some siddhi. Okay. So I can make certain things do work. So I may have a siddhi that I can cure your body by doing something. Okay. I can turn on the light by doing something. That is possible. This is quite possible. But that will not lead to harmony in my life or others' life. So that is possible. So Siddhi is some kind of skill. There is a story about Vivekanand. That Vivekanand was roaming around the country. So he went to Haridwar. So in Haridwar, he found one person meditating. So he asked him that how long you have been meditating? He told, so many years I have been meditating. So what is the achievement? Then this person told Vivekanand, oh, very simple, I'll show you. Then what he did, he walked on the river, went to the sun, walked and came back. And he said that you saw my siddhi. This is what I've attained in all these years. Can you do that? Vivekanand said, yes, I can do that with just 10 paise. He gave 10 paise to a boat driver. He took him to the other side and brought him back. So if this siddhi is good for anything, if you are able to walk on the water, what good has it made for your life? What good it has made to the life of the people around? And ultimately, in fact, this is a kind of fallacy. Our tradition many times got lost in the siddhi. So that's why he stopped and he started having dialogue. So if we break now or break at 1 o'clock? Okay, 12:45 to 1:30. We come back at 1:30. Yes.